Hello and welcome or welcome back. I'm Bo.
And I'm Win.
And we are trying to get our crap together using a combination of the Money Guys, Caleb Hammer, and the Budget Mom. So we decided that today we're going to talk about part of the combination between the Money Guy show and Caleb Hammer. So this is the Money Guys financial order of operations, which, if you remember, what is it, PEMDAS?
Yep.
The the mathematical order of operations. It's that kind of same thing. So in theory, you go through these nine steps in order, and sometimes you'll have to go back if something happens. You'll have to go backwards, but you always go in this order in order to reach financial freedom, essentially. So the Money Guys pushes this. Caleb Hammer follows the Money Guys. I figure I should probably follow the Money Guys too, and we should follow the Money Guys too. And Caleb made a couple of clarifications for this. He does things. How do I put this? He does things a little differently than the Money Guys, but I think that combination works very well. So
He still follows the same steps in the same order.
He does not follow the same order.
Oh, he doesn't?
No. But that's okay, because we're going to go in the order of the Money Guys, but with Caleb's clarifications.
Okay.
So, the Money Guy is a financial advisor and accountant, like certified public accountant, professional financial individual. Caleb Hammer is an internet personality who got his crap together and knows about money. Those are two very different things. So we're going to go in the order of the Money Guys, but with the clarifications of Caleb Hammer, because sometimes the Money Guys can be, they're not used to dealing with people who make the amount of money we make. Yeah. Caleb is.
So a little tone deaf sometimes.
Yeah.
To our concerns.
Yeah. So let's get into the steps at least. Okay. So, number 1, they say deductibles covered. Number 2 is employer match. Number 3 is high interest debt. Number 4 is emergency reserves. Number 5 is Roth and HSA. Number 6 is max out retirement. Number 7, hyperaccumulation. Number 8, prepaid future expenses. Number 9, low interest debt. Now, let me break out the pen, because I'm actually going to clarify a few things on here. So number 1, deductibles covered. For us, that would only be $1,000.
Okay.
That is completely unrealistic to start with, because you are essentially unemployed at least 2 months out of every year, and you have kids, and
that's not how any of this works.
that's not how anything works. So Caleb Hammer says 1 month of expenses saved, which is much more reasonable. And then number 2 is employer match. Employer match, that's your 401k, your 403b, your pension, whatever. Put in up to what the employer will also contribute. So that's the second step, which is reasonable, because you're coming out of pocket, you're cutting your check down, but for retirement, which is, important. And you're going to get, for employer match, you're going to get a 1-for-1 usually. So you put in 4% of your paycheck. They also put that same amount in. So you're getting 100% return, essentially. And then number 3, high interest debt. Caleb Hammer says anything above 5%. The Money Guy, he has a more like nuanced thing that depends on how old you are and what your circumstances are. I like it simpler. I like it simpler, so we're gonna go with 5%. And then we have number 4, emergency reserves. So this is
We got 6 months emergency fund.
three to 6 months is what the money guys say. However, Caleb Hammer says if you have children, you should go with 9 months. Oh no! I need to write on something. This is it's fine. So 9 months because kids are expensive and things happen. And kids need more stability than single adults do. So that's what we're going to go for. And the money guys have a kind of nuanced thing. So like as you're approaching retirement, they want you to get up to 12 months. And then if you're like a business owner, there's like different things. We're going to go with 9 months because it's a solid number, and we're not trying to hire financial advisors right now. And then Roth and HSA is number 5. Currently, the Roth IRA maximum is $7,000 a year per person. So that is somewhat reasonable. HSA, I've never had access to an HSA, but that is like a super tax advantaged account that we don't make enough money to be able to afford, essentially, because HSAs, if you want to take the full benefit of an HSA, you need to leave the money in the account invested and then pay essentially out of pocket for your medical expenses. We don't got money like that. That's probably never going to happen, but we can, in theory, max out our Roth IRAs. So this is probably as far as we're going to get, considering neither one of us makes a lot of money. But let's talk about the other steps, just, to be wild here. Max out retirement. This is your 401k, 403b, all that good stuff. Maxing out retirement means putting in the legal maximum that you can. Currently, I think that's somewhere around $23,000 a year. That ain't happening, y'all. That ain't happening for us. Absolutely not. We don't make enough money. And, hyperaccumulation, this is where you're like living on 30% of your income and everything else gets invested, and you've got rental properties and all this other stuff. Craziness. Probably never going to happen. Let's be real. Prepaid future expenses. This is like paying for your kids' college. We can't pay for our own right now. It's entirely possible that I will never finish college. Absolutely am not paying for 3 kids that are 2 years apart. Like cumulative 2 years apart, because the two of the 3 are twins. So paying for 3 kids' college within 2 years, that's completely unrealistic. And then low interest debt is the last step. So this is the paying off your house, paying off like 2%, 3% interest stuff. We're not going to get to this point aside from like minimum payments. This is not, nope, not if we have to go in this order. So this is why I said that the money guy does not, their math is correct, but their
perspective is limited.
Yes, they aim towards people who make a lot more money than us. So we kind of have to adjust things as needed.
Now, I do want to point out that while Bo is almost certainly correct about this hard limit here and maxing out retirement and hyperaccumulation, it can be easy when you know that your circumstances may soon change to start to want to plan in accordance with what may soon be possible. Want to caution you on that, and this is from a tried and true optimist. having a sense of what is possible and what is actually possible are two importantly different things. There are a number of career pivots that I may take that could put us in a different situation. But folks, until we're actually in that situation, it doesn't do to plan on it. It literally hasn't happened yet. And so when I hear Bo say it probably can't happen, I instinctively push against that. But then also have to remember we didn't get this far dealing with essentially made up numbers. We got this far by intentionally taking a hard look at our finances, taking a look at how much we actually bring in. Even when she said I'm essentially unemployed, I'm working shifts, but I don't know all the shifts that I'm going to have this summer. So that money hasn't actually happened yet. We can't plan on it. We can plan on maybe it works. Let's plan for what has actually happened so far. So I don't want this, I would not want this to be conflated with there's no hope of getting to these things, but for goodness sake, don't fall into my trap of uninformed optimism that may or may not play out in the near future or the medium future. Budget beats broke every time. It really does. And that's why a line like that is so important.
Yes. I do have hope. I have hope. Like we could possibly make more money. However,
we're not now.
And the patterns that we are in and the patterns we have shown have not led me to the idea that this is a realistic expectation that like this year we're going to max out our retirement and every year after that as well, because this is an annual thing. Mm-hmm. This is if we're saying that we're going to get here, that means we think we can realistically invest this $23,000 or however much it is plus the $7,000 each
on top of already having this covered, like,
yes,
it really does need to go in order.
Yes.
So the further you get along, the more it kind of is a stretch.
Yes. And this would be both of us maxing out retirement. So that's double. And this is Roth IRA, this is double. This is us together investing $14,000 a year. And it goes up every year or every few years. So yeah, mm-hmm. that it gets the numbers get a lot bigger. So is what I'm saying.
Looping back, I just want to name that the reason I pushed for us to have a video on this is to let you know, to give you a peek behind the scenes that we aren't just doing zero-based budgeting. We aren't just doing paycheck or rollover budgeting. It's not just what's right in front of us. There's a trajectory that we need to keep in mind if we want this to work out long term. The name of the game has always been an intentional look at our finances so that we take as much of the guesswork out as humanly possible. And this is what that looks like in the larger sense.
Yep.
And like I said, budget beats broke every time.
And never forget that you deserve financial stability. And I hope you have a great day on purpose. Bye.